So I decided that I was kind of done with guys, and which I had already before, but got myself in I allowed a guy to, I guess, compliment me, and it made me feel good, right? So I thought, okay, I need to make sure I'm seeking the Lord and finding out who I am in Christ, so that I can't be tempted or swooned. Wait, is that the right word? The right word?
Wooed.
Wooed, there it is. So I could be wooed by the opposite sex and at a not appropriate time. So I graduated from college and just was seeking the Lord, and I got involved in a college and career group at Church of the Harvest. I loved it, and where I learned a lot about God and a lot about what He has in store for us. And I'm going to share a few things that I learned in our college and career group. And one of the things is this triangle. So this
triangle.
is the man, huh?
Love triangle?
Yeah, you can say that. This is the man, and this is the woman, and this is God. And so envision a man standing here and a woman standing here, and they're looking up, okay? What happens when they look up and they start walking towards the Lord?
They meet.
They meet! Well, the most exciting, yay! The most exciting thing is that, and again, like why I read those scriptures is because we need to seek Him. And my favorite quote is, a man's heart should be so, or a woman's heart should be so close to God that a man has to seek Him to find her. That's beautiful, and that's how it should be, guys. Like, we should be so close to God that a man will have to seek God to find us, and we'll seek God to find Him. And that brings me to Proverbs 18:22, and that says, "He who finds a wife finds favor in the sight of the Lord." And the word "finds" in the original Hebrew text is the word matzah. That's M-A-T-S-A, and that actually means to discover, to appear, or to stumble upon. Kind of like a lucky penny. Like when you're walking around outside or down the road or whatever, occasionally you're like, oh, a penny, you know. But when you're out looking for a penny, do you guys find one? No. Like, yeah, it just doesn't happen normally. And so what I think is cool about this scripture is that it says that he who finds a wife, and if you put in what to stumble upon, he who stumbles upon a wife finds favor in the sight of the Lord. And I just think that's so cool, because that's how it's going to happen. God the man will just kind of stumble upon the woman. But I believe that he must be seeking the Lord, which kind of goes into our story. And so I'm seeking the Lord, and I'm kind of, boys are in the background. I was friends with guys in our college and career group, but our college and career pastor, he said, one thing he said was avoid the presence of evil. And so whenever you question your moments with a guy or whatever, I avoided time with guys that wasn't in a group setting, just because it just can get, the waters could get gray. And I'm pretty extreme in general. So black and white, I think in terms of black and white, and I know that there's a balance and everything, but I'd rather stay far away than not. But I'm not saying don't be friends with guys. That's not what I'm saying. But I'm saying just be careful and just be very prayerful as well. But I go on to say that it was, I think, Easter 2006, and my family was heckling me, and at that time I was only 23, and I look back and I thought 23 was kind of old, but now I look back and I'm like, that was so young. But anyways, I'm 23, and it's Easter, and it was actually April 16th, and my uncle decided to heckle me and give me a hard time about not having a boyfriend or ever bringing anybody home, and I was like, and I had heard it before. I'm the oldest grandchild, so my cousins had boyfriends and girlfriends, and my siblings had boyfriends and girlfriends, and so I was like, oh no, not this again. And something came over me And I said, Grandpa, hand me the Bible. And I got to tell you, we have the big person table and the little person table, you know, like when you go to your grandparents' house. And this is my first time at the big people table. I was like, yeah. So it was kind of funny that this is the conversation that happened. But anyways, I said, Grandpa, give me the Bible. And so I opened it up and I said, Uncle, if you read Proverbs 18:22, it says, when a man finds a woman, he finds favor in the sight of the Lord. I said that word matzah, that word finds is matzah in the original Hebrew text, and it means to stumble upon, and that's how it's going to happen. And I just kind of, it was real bold, and I wouldn't necessarily recommend being like that, but if something came over me and I felt like I was supposed to. So I did, and I closed the Bible, and he laughed, and he said, well, Heather, I feel like we're going to be having the same conversation when you're 80 and eating pudding. And I was like, oh. Anyways, so I say all that to say that little did I know that the Lord was working something out, and I trust the word of the Lord. And 12 days later, ladies, I got a call on April 28th, and it was Seth, my husband, now. Or whatever. And at the time, we were both leaders in our college and career group, but we had never really even had a one-on-one conversation. So it was a little odd that he was calling me, but we were both leaders, so I was like, okay. And I was like, why is Seth calling me? But anyways, he says, I got 2 things for you, and I was like, okay. And he said, the first thing is, Saturday night we're having a little get-together at so-and-so's house. I was going to see if you'd call the girls and let them know about it. And I was like, okay, sure. And he said, and then the second thing is, I was going to see if you would pray about taking our relationship to the next level. And I was like, what? Well, okay, so I'm trying to play it cool because I'm on the phone and I'm like, oh my word. Okay, and he's like, well, don't make it weird. And I was like, don't make it weird. Okay, yeah. So we hang up, and he didn't mean it like that. He just meant like, just pray. Because obviously it was awkward for him too because we weren't, we were together in a group setting always and in leadership together, but that's it. That's all a relationship was really. Acquaintances really. I mean, I would say he was a friend. I knew his character and that he loved the Lord and all that stuff, but aside from that, I didn't know him very well. So anyways, I got off the phone and I screamed out. I was like, oh God, you got to speak to me big time because I do not know what's going on. Mm-hmm. And I was actually driving home to Topeka and to hang out with my aunt and my cousin, and I was like, I can't tell them. They'll tell my whole family, and I don't even know what to think about this. So I kept to myself. I went and I was like, I don't know. Just thinking about it gets me all excited. I had to sit through games with my aunt and my cousin and say absolutely nothing after a phone call like that. I don't know how I did it, but I did. So anyways, the next morning I wake up, and I knew my cousin would sleep in, so I thought, oh, I'll get up and I'll just seek the Lord. So I got up and I was reading through Matthew. It was the 28th, and I thought, well, I'll start reading through the New Testament again, because if you read 10 chapters of the New Testament every day for 6 days out of the week, you can read through the whole New Testament in a month. So I was like, well, I'll just start my month early. And so I was reading through Matthew, and the Lord just spoke to me. He's the man I want you to marry. And I was like, and I remember like closing my Bible and like tossing it off to the side, and I was like, what? Like, can it be that easy? Like, does the Lord speak like that? Yes, he does, by the way. But I just was like, I don't know about this. So anyways, I got home, and I was actually living in the basement of our college and career pastors, and I was like, I got home and I was like, you guys know. And they're like, know what? And we were like, because Seth had met with Pastor Mike, and so I knew that Pastor Mike had to have known because he was discipling Seth. So I was like, you know, and he's like, no what? And he played it all cool, and I was like, that Seth called me, and he's like, what are you talking about? And I was so nervous and like excited, and yet I was scared out of my mind because I was like, oh my goodness. But you guys, I had prayed after my senior year of college that the Lord would he would bring some guy into my life, and I'd get married. I didn't want to play games. I didn't want to date. I I had seen what dating did to my friends, and to be honest, I feel like dating just sets you up for divorce because you're teaching yourself, he doesn't really work, so I'm just going to let him go. And so I didn't want to do any of that. I just wanted the Lord to bring me someone, and I was like, I don't know what that's going to look like, and I just wanted to be friends with them already, and then I was looking at all my guy friends, and I was thinking, I don't really want it to be any of these guys. And so, just to be honest, they're great guys, but anyway, so I just was like, I have to lay this at your feet, Lord, because I don't see how this could happen. So, this is how he decided to do it. So anyways, April 1st and 2nd, I decided, or on May 1st and 2nd, it was like that next weekend, I was like, I have to stop thinking about it because it consumed me, this decision. Like, this is a huge decision. I have to tell him that he's to pursue me now. And I was like, I don't know if I'm ready for this. And so I decided I was going to leave from work, and I was going to go get a bed and breakfast or something, or a hotel room, and I was just going to seek the Lord and put the whole Seth thing to the side and not even think about that. And as I drove to find this hotel room, and I actually went to a bed and breakfast, it was closed, so I kept driving. And then I get to I don't know, I was in Manhattan, Kansas, and there was like some farmers convention, and so all the hotels were full, and I was like, really? But anyways, I passed through Manhattan, and there's a road called Seth's Child Road, and I was like, is this a joke? Like, I put him to the side, I'm not even thinking about him right now, and then I come across the street that says Seth's Child Road, and then I saw it again, and I was like, oh my word, Lord, I'm seeking you, I don't even want to think about that right now. So anyways, there was just a couple things like that happened, and I was like, I got it, I get it, he's the one, all right. So then after I decided, okay, God, I understand, when do I tell him? And I just felt like I was supposed to wait till my birthday, which was June 1st. And it was a long wait. I mean, that was a month. But the Lord just spoke to me continually and encouraged me. I was like, nope, he's the one. And this is why. And this is, how it's going to work out. And I was like, okay. So June 1st comes around, and I was so nervous. I was shaking. I was like, I just want to get the ball back in his court. And they're like, yeah. So I called him up, and I said, I feel like I'm to allow you to pursue me. And he said, okay. And the next night, June 2nd, Mike and Janelle, our college and career pastors, were having a barbecue for my birthday. And they said, why don't you just have them over for the barbecue? And I said, oh, sure, that'll be great, because that'll break the ice, hopefully. Anyways, it was so awkward. But anyways, he came over for the barbecue, and it was really fun because it was with Mike and Janelle, and they're fun people anyway. So after the barbecue, we left, and we went to Black Bob Park, and had our very first one-on-one conversation, which went a little like this. We didn't want to say we were dating because that can put skewed views in people's minds, and we didn't really want to say courting because that can give people skewed views as well, because that's what it really was, but we didn't want people to be like, oh, they're the creepy couple or whatever, and that's not what we wanted to say. So we came up with another creepy thing, which was, no, I'm kidding, which was we're pursuing a relationship with the intentions of marriage. So that was our first one-on-one conversation, a little weird, but I believe God has fun stories for each and every one of you, and I believe that if you're not called to be single, then God calls us to be married, because if you look in Genesis, he says that a man should not be alone, and he brings a wife as a helpmate, or brings a woman as a helpmate for him. So don't listen to the enemy's lies about you're not good enough, or no one will love you, or you're too skinny, or you're too fat, or you're too whatever. I don't know about you guys, but I've had those lies, like, well, you're too outgoing, you're too outspoken, blah, 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 and I'm like, okay, those are lies. That's not true. God has the perfect person for you. I'm telling you, each and every one of you guys. You just have to seek him to find him. So, isn't that fun? I think it is. Anyways, so that was our first one-on-one conversation. And then the next step we believed we were going to separate and pray what our boundaries were going to be. And it was really cool to come back together and have like minds on our boundaries. But if you seek the same God, you're going to get the same things, right? And there are a few things that were different that the other just didn't think about or whatever. And I brought you, this is our list. This is the actual one from how many years ago? Anyways, 2006. And these are guidelines that we feel like the Lord gave you, because I don't want you guys to walk away thinking, I can't do this, because it's not about what you can and can't do. It's about what God wants you to do. And so things like Seth had a motorcycle, so no riding on his motorcycle together, no kissing. We put no holding hands until the proper time. Home by midnight unless we were with other people. No praying together. No long hugs, or hug goodnight only. Side note on that, we decided only side hugs, but then after 2 of those, I was like, I don't want any more side hugs. Those were awkward. You know, like, no hugs. So anyway, yeah. Bye there. I was like, okay, just none of that either. Like, it was just weird. I'd rather not have a hug at all. And then no gossip about other people. Don't be alone in private places, not even in a stopped car for too long of time. And no swimming together. I didn't want to, that one was kind of me. I didn't want to swim with him, and it was during the summer. And the opportunity actually didn't arise at all, so we didn't have to deal with it. But I didn't want him to have the image of my body in his mind until the proper time. So I just said no swimming. And then the other thing is Seth was not to become my spiritual leader until we were married. So with personal matters, emotional things, I still went to my best friend and my college and career pastors, or my people who mentored me, instead of to Seth, because if you guys, we wanted, these guidelines were to show that we could get to our wedding day, and if the Lord was like, nope, this is done, we would have absolutely no regrets. So once you start going somewhere physically, I've just heard this multiple times. You hold hands, then you want more. You want to side hug. No, I'm kidding. That's the next one. But anyways, just it escalates, and so we were like, let's not even make that a temptation at all. So we didn't even go there. So our very first kiss was actually on our wedding day, which is pretty cool to say. We set our boundaries. Then we met our parents. Do you have a question?
Yeah. Did you say no praying?
Yes,
Why?
because he had actually read in a book with his Mighty Men group that said that prayer is almost more intimate than sex, because you're hearing one's heart. And so we decided we don't want to go too far emotionally before we were married. So
Do you pray as a group?
Yes, but not one-on-one, because when you're one-on-one, your hearts become connected, and when you're one-on-one, when you're in a group, it's safer because there's people there. Does that make sense? I know that's kind of I don't know.
I get it. That makes sense.
It's just avoiding getting too connected to someone too quickly. We just believe that when you're praying together, it's just such an intimate moment or whatever. And in a group setting, there's other people there, and it's just different than when it's one-on-one. So that's kind of why. And I know everybody's like, why can't you pray together? I mean, that was just a good thing. But you know what? It's not a do's and don'ts. Again, it's not do's and don'ts. And what we wrote down is not exactly what the Lord's going to speak to you. We just knew that God was going to have it. This was a huge testimony that He was going to have us walk out extreme purity, I guess, like pretty extreme. But there's a reason, so that we could have a testimony to show and to be able to speak to people about how you can do it and how it can look different. But it's also not these lists. I don't want you to walk away and go, okay, this is what I have to do too, because that's not it. What I want you to do is to seek when you are in a relationship, that you guys will both seek God and find out what He has for you to do. So if He says you can pray together, then that's fine. But we didn't feel like we were supposed to. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay. So, anyways, that was the boundaries. Then we were off to meet each other's parents. So I think we went and saw his parents first, and he's from Clarinda, Iowa, and that was fun meeting parents. And it's always fun to tell your parents, well, this is the man I'm going to marry, before they've even met him. Anyways, it was good because once my mom met Seth, and my family met Seth, they knew he was the one for me. So I remember telling my friends about it, and they were like, what? And I was like, oh guys, he's just amazing, and he relaxes me, because I tend to be more of a like high energy, like I don't know, intense person, and he's just more relaxed and laid back, and what? Yeah, kind of quiet. And I remember saying like, he relaxes me, and they were like, okay, he's the one. He's the one. If he can relax you, then he's the one. And I was like, yep. So anyways, we went through the summer and just really stuck with our boundaries and got to know each other, because we didn't really know each other. So we got to, it was really fun getting to know each other and kind of falling in love, basically. And September 26th was Seth's birthday, and I went to go pick him up and from his house, and I was going to take him on this big special dinner for his birthday. We were going to get steaks, and I had bought him these really great hiking shoes that I knew he would love, but he would never buy himself because they were more expensive than the normal shoes. So anyways, actually, they're those right there, those Keens. Are those Keens?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I knew he would never buy them for himself, but I knew he would love them. So that's what I had gotten for his gift. I was so excited to give it to him, and I get there and to his house, and he didn't come out. Normally he comes right out, so I was like, that's weird. But I see a sign on the door that said "Come in," and I was like, okay. So I go up there and I open the door, and there's at this top of the stairs, because he kind of had one of those split levels. At the top of the stairs was a big poster board, and on top of that was this big bouquet of yellow lilies that are my favorite flower. And I was like, aw. So I walk up, and there's this poem about me. It was hilarious, but it said, and then so it had instructions: admire the flowers. I think the next one was like, read the poem, and the next one was, and then follow the path outside. And so I was like, okay. So I follow the path. It took me through the kitchen and back out on the porch, and then down the porch, and I'm like, where is he? But anyways, then I see another poster board, and in the middle of that is the Bible, and it's opened up, and he had scripture for me to read. It was the scripture that the Lord spoke to him that he was to marry me. And so he says, read the scripture and then close the Bible when you're done. And I read it like 3 or 4 times, and I was like, I don't know what's going on. I just kept reading it over and over again and not getting anything. And finally I was like, okay, I think I get it. I think I get it. So I close it, and I'm like, where is he? And all of a sudden he comes rappelling down from the tree. I was by a tree. I didn't even see him. He was up above me. But he rappelled down, and he had a white rose and a red rose. And he said, this white rose resembles friendship, which our relationship was, that's how it started, was friendship. And this is the red rose, and the red rose represents or resembles love, because I'm falling in love with you. Because he hadn't told me that yet. So,
Falling.
Yes.
Down, falling.
Yep, exactly. So, and I'm falling in love with you. And then he said, he'll kill me for sharing this, but he said, okay, where's the gift that you got me? And because he was so nervous too, and I was like, oh, it's in the car. Do you want me to go get it? Because I was nervous too. And he goes, no, that's not what I meant. I just meant, for my birthday, all I want is you. And they got on his knee, and he had a ring for me, and he said, will you marry me? And I was like, yes! So, and this is the ring that he gave me, and it is actually his grandmother's diamonds that he got reset for me in this ring. So I thought that was kind of special.
Cool.
So anyways, then engagement time, and you guys, we decided to stick with our boundaries, and we were actually talking at youth group, and Seth said that one of our boundaries was not holding hands, and I was like, hey, that was on here it says holding hands at the proper time, and I was thinking once we got engaged we could probably hold hands, but he said to the youth group that we weren't, and so I was like, okay, well, we're not holding hands until we're married. All right. So we ended up, we couldn't go back on that. We said it. So which we could just kind of laugh about that. Anyways, so our wedding was set, and we got married on January 20th, 2007. So it was from start to finish a little over 7 months, I think. But I just want to tell you that whole time the Lord was just speaking to us. And guys, when you let the Lord pick the man for you, it is amazing. My husband is awesome. He completes me in every way. He, like, my weaknesses are his strengths. Like I said, he relaxes me because I'm more of the woohoo! And our little girl has my personality, so it's really funny because she's like, woo, and he's like, oh, there's two of you. But no, he's just taught me a lot about how to relax and how to go with the flow, and it's just amazing. And so that's about it with my story, except I did want to leave you with a few things. The while you wait stage, because a lot of people are like, well, what do I do now? Like, kind of what you said, like, well, and how do I relate with guys and stuff like that too. Just be yourself and let the Lord lead you, and if and just wait on Him. And I have a couple things that I wrote down. One was seek the Lord, fall in love with Jesus. I'm telling you, it is the most greatest thing that you can ever do. Let Him be your first love and allow Him to show you who He is, okay? And allow Him to show you who He has for you as well. Then I wanted to read Proverbs 3:5-6 that said, and I'm probably, this is one memory verse a lot of people know, but it's trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not on your own understanding, and in all your ways acknowledge Him and He shall direct your path. So guys, don't lean on your own understanding. I didn't know how it was going to happen, and I'm telling you, I could not have conjured up this in my head and thought this could happen like it did. But it did, and it was totally of the Lord, and God just wants us to pray and seek Him, and He wants to give us the desires of our hearts, and He wants to direct our paths. We just have to seek Him. It says it all over in the Word. Just seek Him. And then the second one is to watch what you feed yourself. Be careful with what movies you watch, what TV you watch, what magazines you open, or even just the front covers, what friends you hang out with, all that, what music you listen to, all that stuff. And make sure, or I have written down here, you are what you behold. So whatever you observe, whatever you look at, those are the things that are going to come out of you, whether you realize it or not. Another one I want to say is to read your word over and over again. It's alive and active, sharper than a double-edged sword. Just get into your word. Eat it up. It's like fresh baked bread. It's awesome. So don't take my word for things. Don't take other people's word for things. Get in there and dig into it yourself. And then find someone to mentor you or disciple you, someone that you can look up to, someone who you're like, that's where I want to be. And seek them out and talk with them. Ask them to challenge you or whatever.
Does your mom work?
My mom?
I mean, does...
oh, yes.
Well,
yes.
I mean, sorry.
Yes. Sorry. Yes.
Sorry.
Yeah. Yeah. If she's someone you want to be like, absolutely. If you see that, yeah. Then also find a friend who is like-minded that you can run the race with, that you can encourage each other with, that you could bounce ideas off with, that you can read the Word with, that you can remain pure in heart and mind with, okay? Then, and it has to be a girlfriend, okay? All right. The other thing is find someone to mentor or disciple. Yeah, I don't care how old you are. You can encourage someone else. You can pour your life into someone else and tell them what you're learning in the Word and whatnot. So, and then the last thing is to get involved. Don't remain idle. Get involved by volunteering. Join, make sure you're going to a youth group or a college and career group, or start your own Bible study. Just get involved with people and hang out, and also make sure you're getting involved with other guys too, not just girls, but guys. So go to places like youth group, safe places, you know, or with your parents, you know, have people over and hang out and be friends and just live life loving the Lord. And I promise that God has great things in store for you guys, and that He has a love story that He wants to write for you, or that He's written for you. You just have to seek Him to find it. So, yeah.